I'm back. Alright, what's good, y'all? Today we're reacting to 20 true animated horror stories. Right? Let me yap real quick. So, it's gonna be a part 2, obviously. Alright? Feel me? I feel like y'all mess with the other one. I feel like y'all mess with part 1. So we gonna go ahead and get into part 2. Ain't no yapping today. Let's go right in.
I used to shop at Target all the time, but recently I don't want to go back there, at least not to the location that I live by. Some creepy and weird things happened to me there. There's really only one Target that's close to where I live. It's been my main store for years to get just about anything. There's some other stores that I go to as well, but Target has the best variety. I've always preferred it over Walmart as well. One night, I went shopping after work. I was getting a lot of items, mainly groceries. I got a cart and began shopping around the store. It wasn't all that busy, and that made things go smoothly. After shopping for probably about 30 minutes, I was almost done. My cart had lots of items in it, and I was in the last area of the store that I would be going to, which was the cold section. The refrigerated items and the freezer items is what I would always get last. That way, they wouldn't melt by the time I got home. When I got to that section of the store, it was empty. I was the only person there. They had a freezer at the back of the store, and I was getting something from it when I saw something strange. It was like movement of some sort behind the items. This particular freezer section was up against the very back of the store leading to the back room. That's when I realized that a person was back there, behind the freezer shelves. I could see between the levels of shelves that they had, but not by much. Somebody was right behind the spot that I was at. At first, I thought it was kind of funny, but I soon realized it wasn't a Target employee. I moved down to get something else, and whoever was there seemed to move down with me. As I was examining a product, I could see that the person was wearing black, not the typical red shirt and khakis that a Target employee would wear. Then they got closer, and I noticed that I could now see their head through the gap between the shelves. The person was wearing a black ski mask. My only thought was that this was really strange.
So you're telling me you see, what's it called? You see somebody in all black, feel me, ski mask, black hoodie, black pants, whatever. And you're talking about, oh, this is really strange. Nigga, if you don't walk away, just walk off. He's behind the freezer, bro. What is he gonna do? Just walk off. Go home. Like, you just standing there looking stupid. Like, bro.
I moved even further down, and the masked man moved down with me. He was beginning to really freak me out.
Bro, walk off.
He kept staring at me from the other side. Luckily for me, I only needed one more item from that aisle. I went to grab it, as the masked man stared at me. Then, as I was reaching for the product, the guy reached over and shoved the whole box of them at me. Multiple items fell onto the floor.
Are we dead ass?
I put them back as he disappeared into the freezer. This guy was causing problems, and I decided to tell an employee about him. I walked down a few aisles before finding somebody who worked there. I told them about the guy and how he was inside of the freezer. The employee told me,
gang, why are you talking to why are you talking to workers, bro? If you don't buy your shit and either go to a different store and get the same thing or just go home, you don't need it that bad, bro. You got everything else on your list. Just move on, gang. Leave, bro.
me that she would tell the person to leave and that they couldn't be back there. There happened to be doors leading to the back room of the store right nearby, and I watched her walk through them. About a minute later, the employee emerged again. She told me that she couldn't find anybody back there at all. Whoever had been doing that must have left. I hadn't seen anybody else come out of the doors, though. I shrugged it off and was done with my shopping, so I decided to head out. I walked up to the front and paid for everything, then left the store.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do whatever.
Yeah, I know me.
About a week later, I returned.
Cut that one out.
I would say that I went grocery shopping roughly once a week. I didn't have a specific day or anything like that I would go, but on average it was probably about once. This time that I went back to the Target was just like any other. I did all of my shopping in about 30 minutes or so, and then checked out with all of my items. After I left the store, I walked out to my car and unloaded the groceries into it. Then I started driving home. This particular Target has several other businesses around it, like just past the parking lot. There was also a few trees and bushes around for scenery. As I was driving away, leaving the parking lot, I was driving between some other businesses and the Target parking lot going to a connecting road. That's when I saw the same guy dressed in all black and a ski mask. He was halfway hiding behind a bush, and he popped out and looked directly at me as I drove away. I drove right past him in disbelief. This was the same guy who I had seen last time I had been at this same Target. But this time he was outside, not inside the store. It was crazy to me how I specifically saw him. Maybe he just liked to go to Target and mess with people. I really didn't know. But what I did know...
Maybe he just like to go to Target and mess with people. Take your stupid ass home, gang.
Is that I was really weirded out by this. The way he was hiding in the bushes was concerning. Luckily, I was away from him now and on the way home. After that experience, I didn't go to Target for almost 2 weeks. When I returned, it was just another routine shopping trip, just like any other. I did my shopping like always and then left the store. It was nighttime again, and things were pretty quiet inside and outside of the Target. I had parked sort of in the middle of the parking lot, about halfway back. There were a few other cars around mine. When I got back to my car, I unloaded the groceries again and got inside. I started my engine and was just about ready to drive away. I happened to glance over at the car that was parked directly next to me to the left for no particular reason. When I glanced over though, I noticed movement. It caught my attention and my eyes stayed focused on it. The entire car had looked empty to me. The car was a standard looking white sedan, and the back windows were tinted dark, but the front windows I could see through. That's when somebody emerged from the back seat, crawling over into the front passenger seat. It was a guy wearing all black and a ski mask. My jaw dropped when I saw this. He looked right at me through the windows separating us. He continued to stare at me for probably 5 seconds or so as I sat there in total shock. Then his door started to open. I was so surprised, still from just seeing...
Yeah, right. Excuse me, my fault. And right there, when you jump out, hopefully your car is already turned on. You hit the, you hit that, you hit drive so motherfucking fast and put your foot on that pedal. You peel off, gang. I don't care if you balled your tires from that. Peel off. Like, why are you even still there in the first place? Go home. This happened the other day, and you came back and the same thing happened. It's the same dude. Nigga, go home. Obviously, that's not his car. He just killed somebody, bro. Go home. He about to kill your ass, bro. Come on.
The guy that I didn't do anything. It was like I couldn't move. After he opened the door, he stood up and reached for my driver's door. I finally came to my senses and hit the lock switch. Just moments later, the man with the mask tried opening my driver's door, which had just locked. He then leaned in very closely to my driver's window, basically pressing his face against it. I was beyond creeped out. He stared right at me, as close as he possibly could. I yelled at him to go away, but he didn't move. I put my car into reverse and then started backing out. The guy grabbed onto my car as I backed away. He was trying to stay with me, and when I had backed out and began driving, he finally let go. I saw him then run back to the car that he had been inside. I hit the gas harder to leave as soon as possible. Then I was able to make it out of the parking lot, and I quickly turned off to a busier street. After that, I quickly turned into another parking lot and then turned my lights off and parked. I watched, and several seconds later, I saw a car come out of the Target parking lot and drive quickly down the street past me. I was pretty sure that that was the guy. After the car was long gone, I was able to drive home, and I made it back okay. This wasn't all that long ago. Each of the last 3 times I went to that Target, I've seen the same man. Why is he there, and what is he doing? I really don't know. I haven't been back to that Target since. For some background of this story, I'm a female, and I worked at Target for a while, over a year ago.
Bro, you know what I don't understand with these horror stories, like these animated horror stories. Why? I mean, I get that they reading a script, but like, why y'all got the dudes reading the script of a female? Why don't you just get a female voice actor or just a female voice and get them to read? That's what I don't get. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Target that I worked at was very close to my apartment at the time, and it was a pretty enjoyable job for me. My favorite part was talking with coworkers and becoming friends with them. Mostly what I would do is work in the clothing department. I would do all sorts of things there, and it wasn't very stressful because things usually don't get busy like they do in the grocery section. At the time of this story, I had been working there for almost 4 months. I remember it very well. It all started on a typical day at work. I was in the clothing department, particularly the women's section, straightening up items that were out of place. It was during the daytime, and the store was calm. This is when a tall man approached me. Assuming he was a customer who had a question about something, I greeted him, asking how I could help. The man stood there, looking directly at me with a somewhat creepy grin on his face for a moment. He then said, "Yes, you can help me, by going out."
I ain't gonna lie, it's time to pack it up. I'm going home. I'm clocking out. I see y'all. Y'all can deal with this, nigga. Yeah, I'm going home. I'm clocking out. I see y'all tomorrow.
Out with me tonight. I laughed it off. I had no interest in going out with the man, but I wasn't scared of him or anything. I just told him that I had a boyfriend, even though I didn't actually have one. This was always the best way to tell off a guy that I wasn't interested in my experience. The man replied rather quickly, saying, "No, you don't." I told him that I did, and I asked the man if he needed help finding anything. He then responded with an even creepier reply. "Yes, directions to your house." I laughed off this remark as well. I was just hoping that the man was joking around, because this was getting really weird. After he said that, I told him that I had a lot of work to do, and I told him to have a good day. Then I started making my way to another section of the large clothing department that we had. The clothing area was practically big enough to get lost in. I was hoping to lose sight of the man, but when I started moving away, he followed.
Take your eyes off
when I had made it to another section and he was still next to me, I stopped. I didn't have a problem with confrontation, and I said to the man, "Why are you following me? You're kind of creeping me out." The guy put his hands up as if to say, "My bad." He then walked away, and it was a huge relief. I had dealt with customers asking me out or trying to flirt with me a couple of times. It didn't happen very often, but here and there it did. None of them had been nearly as bad as this, though. I kept working for several hours. By then, I had forgotten about my experience earlier, but I soon remembered when I spotted the same man. I couldn't believe it at first. This was now about 3 hours after our first interaction. To me, it was still mind-blowing that he was still in the store. Maybe he had left and then come back. Either way, it was strange, and it was now a bigger concern for me, because shortly after I had spotted him, I saw him look over at me and then look quickly away. The man was sort of far away too. It looked like he was almost hiding from me. He stood, mostly covered by a rack of clothing, staring in my direction. I moved slightly and kept working, to which the man moved slightly as well to keep looking at me. I stopped and sighed. This was really annoying now. I walked away, leaving what I was doing. I moved to a whole nother section of the store, far away from that one. There, I didn't really have any work to do, but I just wanted to get that man off of me. I was now in the grocery area, and I was there for about a minute before spotting the man again. He was walking into the area, and he saw me for a split second, and then disappeared into a nearby aisle.
Oh no.
At this point, I decided to take my break.
No.
I had one that I could take at any time, and I was planning to after I had finished the work that I was doing in the clothing department. But seeing as this creep was back and still following me around, I decided to just take my break now. I radioed in on my walkie-talkie to let my supervisor know I would be taking my break. Then I headed towards the front end of the store. Our break room was through doors at the front, and I walked in there. When I got inside the break room, I thought back to the crazy situation. Did that man seriously think he was being slick? I mean, I spotted him twice, and it was like he thought I couldn't see him. I just hoped that he would notice I was not there anymore and then leave. I'm not going to lie, I took a little bit extra time on my break. I was pretty concerned to return back out and see the man again. If I did see him, I was going to have to tell a coworker or our security team. I didn't want to have to do that, but I would if it was necessary. When I went back out though, I didn't notice the man anywhere. I went back to work in the clothing department, but was much more alert and constantly looking around. I didn't see the guy for the rest of my shift that night, which was about 2 more hours. I was really happy about this, but still, I thought possibly he was still there looking at me somewhere and had just gotten better about hiding. At the end of the day though, I don't think he was. I left work and went
And it's gonna take hella long though. Like, what the fuck, bro? I ain't gonna lie. At this point, just take my computer right, bro.
Gaza is at a tipping
Just
point.
take my YouTube count, bro. Just take it, bro.
left work and went home,
I
not
know
seeing
you
the
don't
guy
cut
at
that
all.
one out.
Soon, I forgot all about him. I worked several more times that week, mostly my usual shifts. One night, the very next week, I found myself working on a quiet evening. I was almost done, and it was past the busy amount of customers that we would usually get between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. I was doing my usual work of organizing a section of the clothing department. That's when I got a call on my walkie. Somebody radioed asking for me, and I radioed back telling them to go ahead. I wasn't quite sure who had said it, but that wasn't uncommon. A big store like Target has so many employees. Plus, there are always new people. A handful of my coworkers, I could instantly recognize their voices over the walkie-talkie, but many of them I could not. After telling them to go ahead, they asked me to go to Channel 3. This is how we would communicate without other employees hearing us. It was used for more descriptive details or directions on what we were supposed to do. After turning to 3, I told them to go ahead again. That's when I was told that I was needed in receiving and to help with something quick. I told them that I was on my way and began walking over. Receiving was the back room of the store basically. I wouldn't work back there a lot, but I had helped with things there several times in the past. It took me a few minutes to walk all the way back there, and when I had made it, I exited the store into the back. Things were very quiet back there. I had expected to see someone there waiting for me. I turned my walkie to Channel 3 again and said that I was in receiving. Nobody said anything, but I heard my voice echo onto somebody else's walkie nearby. I then called out, asking where they were, but I didn't get a response. I walked closer to the voice, which was near one of the doors leading to outside.
Go back to
I noticed that it was open, and I could see outside into the night. That's when I saw the man again. He stepped out from behind a shelf back there. I couldn't believe he was here.
Yeah, you turn
That was
around,
you on the
you
walkie,
run.
wasn't it? I said to
You
him.
run.
The man just
You run
started
back
walking
inside
towards
and
me.
you call
I backed
somebody.
away as he got closer. I looked at how much taller he was than me. If he tried to grab me, it would be difficult to get away. He got closer, and I turned around, but as soon as I did, he grabbed my arm. Then, he started to pull me backwards. I started yelling, but back there, it wasn't likely anybody would hear me.
Gang, come on.
Suddenly, I heard the doors leading back to the shopping area open. I then saw one of my coworkers, Amy, walking over. I yelled at her, and she asked what was going on. The man let me go and then sprinted out the doors outside. I ran over to Amy and explained to her what had happened. Amy told me that she had heard the person asking me to go to Channel 3. She said that when she didn't recognize the voice and was just being nosy in general, she turned to Channel 3 as well. She was wondering what I was being asked to do. When she heard I was supposed to go to receiving, she found it strange, because she had just been there earlier in the night and wasn't aware of anything that would be done back there. She decided to see for herself, and I'm really glad that she did. We had to call the police and report the incident, but unfortunately, not much could be done. The man had bought a walkie-talkie and got on the same frequency as us, which was not hard to do at all. Many standard walkie-talkies were capable of it. I'm just glad I was all right. I worked at Target for a few months after that, and
People
luckily
just be so
never saw the
slow,
man again.
gang. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm a former Target employee. I worked there 5 years ago, pushing carts in the parking lot. This was one of my favorite jobs that I've had so far, to be honest. It was pretty enjoyable and easy work. However, I do have one really scary story to tell. This is something that still creeps me out when I think about it. I worked at a super Target and was in a busy area. The store and the parking lot were very big, and they were close to other stores and restaurants that were close by. This made work challenging occasionally because of how busy it would get. One time, I was working a night shift, and it had been really busy in the day earlier, but by now, things were very calm. It felt like the calm after the storm, because the carts were scattered throughout the parking lot, not just in the corrals. This was typical on busy days. When I had the time later, I would go all around the parking lot and retrieve the carts that were not in the corrals. I would also bring all the ones that were in the corrals back to the store as well. Obviously, with how busy it had been earlier, I hadn't been able to keep up with the parking lot as perfectly as I would like. So, it was probably about 9 p.m. or so. I went to the northeast corner of the parking lot. There was a cart that was against the curb at the corner the farthest away from the store. I walked over and got the cart. As soon as I was grabbing it, I noticed an SUV pulling into this area of the parking lot. There was an entrance/exit right there as well. The SUV did not keep driving though. Instead, it stopped right in front of me. I found this kind of strange, but I just got the cart and started walking back to the store. But that's when I heard a voice call out, "Hey!" I looked back and saw a man getting out of the SUV. The vehicle was not parked in a parking space, but just parked there, partly covering 2 different spaces and the driving area. The guy said to me that maybe I could help him with something. I stopped with the cart and looked back to him. I asked him what he needed help with. The man waved me over and I started walking to him. He said that he didn't know if I knew much about cars or not, but he didn't, and something weird was happening with his. The man was short, but looked sort of strong. I did know a little bit about cars, but not a whole lot. I was hoping that I would be able to help the man with this problem though. Then, the man asked me to get inside the backseat of his car and listen to the weird noise it made when he drove.
No.
The question really seemed to come out of left field.
No.
It took me by surprise, and it also seemed really sketchy. I changed my mind suddenly.
Yo, if you get in that car, you genuinely have no type of survival skills whatsoever. What are you talking about? Get in the backseat of my car and listen to the weird noise it makes while I'm driving. Nigga, the only weird sound that you're gonna hear is this nigga laughing while he takes you back to his torture, his torture basement, and keeps you there until he's done with your dumb ass. You're stupid. Please don't. If I press play and she gets in the back of the car like an idiot, I swear to God.
Actually, I really don't know anything about cars, I said. Then I turned around to get my cart and started walking back over to it.
Thank you. Oh
The
my
man told me
God.
to wait, but I didn't. I kept walking, making my way back to the target. I heard footsteps of the man coming after me though.
Run!
This was really strange. I sped up. The guy behind me seemed to speed up as well. At that point, I decided to just start sprinting. I felt like I was in danger,
Bro, leave
and I knew
the
if I made
cart
it in the
and
target, I would be
run.
safe. I ran all the way there, sprinting with the cart, and the man could not keep up and stopped chasing me. When I got back inside, I decided to work on the other end of the parking lot for a while, and that's exactly what I did. And I also tried to stay close to the building as I collected carts from the other end. Everything went fine. I looked out to the other side of the parking lot where the man and his car had been, and I didn't see him or the SUV. He must have left, which was good.
I used to say, if I hear
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
AI
I'ma cut
one
this
more
one
time,
out.
I'm gonna lose it.
Hold on,
But
all the other
Monday.com
ones.
is
No, y'all
super
know me.
easy.
Y'all know me. All of them get cut
After
out.
working for a while, it was time for my final break of the day. It was a 15-minute break. I walked back inside and into the break room. There, I sat on my phone, scrolling through social media and Snapchatting with friends. At that time, I was the only person in the break room. With it being late, there was an overlap of people at the end of their evening shifts or at the beginning of their overnight shifts. Nobody else was taking their break. This was fine with me. About halfway through, I heard the door to the break room open and close. There was a little hallway with a closet that led into the break room. I expected somebody to enter the room, but no one did. I didn't think anything of it. I continued sitting in my chair and looking at my phone, but several moments later, I had a strange feeling. It was like the feeling that I was being watched. I usually don't get this feeling, so when I did, I turned around. That's when I saw the guy who had chased after me
hell
earlier.
no.
He was standing in the
You telling me if you see this, right? You see this. This nigga in the pit in the deepest, darkest shadow. and you're not getting up and getting the fuck up out of there? Better than me, nigga. I ain't gonna lie.
The entrance of the break room, looking right at me. Then he started walking closer to me. I got up and once again sprinted away from the man. I ran out the other exit of the break room, which led to an employees only area where you punched in, and there was a desk there as well. Nobody was back there at the time. There was also a door leading to outside, and I ran out of it and back into the parking lot. I ran around to the other entrance door and quickly found one of the managers. I told them the whole story, but when they went into the break room, the man was gone. He must have exited after I had. Luckily, I didn't have much time left on the clock. I worked very carefully for the next 30 minutes or so. Then I punched out and went home. I never saw the man again. After this incident, I worked at Target for quite a while. Nothing like that ever happened again, which I'm glad to say.
Oh, hell no. Well, that's it for part 2, y'all. Let me know if y'all want to see part 3. Feel me? Let's see y'all in the next video. Tight shit. Stay freaky, y'all.
Tired of looking at, and that's why I be texting you.